Math 7, Unit 4, Percent and Proportion, Lesson 3, Part 1. The percent proportion introduction. You can represent A is P% of W with the proportion A over W equals P over 100. The thing to realize here is that you've got the part out of the whole, and that equals the percent written as a fraction. Percent meaning per 100 in this case. And that's what we're dealing with here. Now there are some keywords that can help you. In a sentence, specifically, let's look at this sentence. A is P% of W. Notice the key words is, percent, and of. Notice that is, the part, the number generally will group up with the word is. The whole amount will generally group up with of. And the percent will group up with the word percent. Kind of just the way English tends to work. So let's go through some examples here. What percent of 15 is 12? You'll start by writing your percent proportion. Fraction equals fraction out of 100. Then you're going to fill some information in. The of is 15. That's the part, or actually that's the whole. Of gives you the whole amount. Is 12, the part is 12. And the percent we don't know, so we just fill it in with a letter of the alphabet used as a variable. I like to use the letter W, meaning what percent. It might be a good idea to use the letter P here, because that would remind you that you're talking about percent. Help you put the percent sign on when you're done. There's options. It's not really important what letters you use. After that, we can cross multiply. We get 15p equals 1200. We can divide both sides by 15. And we get that p equals, I believe this is going to be 8. 80%. So we do need to put the percent symbol on it, and the answer here is 80%. What percent of 15 is 12? It is 80%. Okay, next example. What number is going to go with the number 36%. Okay, you got to write my fraction equals fraction out of 100. 36% will go 36 per 100. Of 50 is the whole amount. So the whole would be 50. And then our unknown part amount, I'm going to use W for what number? I could also use an A. That's what the setup in the book uses, A for part. Instead of P for part, because P is used for percent. We can cross multiply here, although to get from 50 to 100, you multiply by 2. So we could actually think what times 2 is 36, and we can get our number that way as well. So here it would be 18. Cross multiplying would give you the same answer. 150% of what number is 24? Okay, start with your fraction equals fraction out of 100. It's 150%, so the 150 goes here. Is 24, that is the part, and it's of what number? So this is the complete setup. Now we cross multiply and solve. 150W equals 2,400. We can divide by the 150, and W will end up equaling, I believe, 16, but just using a calculator to see for sure, it is 16. So 150% of 16 is 24. Okay, several more examples. Write and solve a proportion to answer the question, what percent of 5 is 3? You start with the setup, then you put your numbers in. What percent of 5 is 3? And we don't know the percent. Cross multiply, we get 5p equals 300. Divide both sides by 5. And p equals 60. Since it's a percent, we need to put the percent symbol on it. We get 60%. Next one. 25 is what percent of 20. Well, 25 is the part, let me just change color. 25 is the part, 20 is the whole. We're trying to find the percent. If we cross multiply here, we'll get 20p equals 2,500. We can divide both sides by 20, and p is 125. We need to remember to put the percent symbol on that. It's 125%. Okay, next example. What number is 80% of 60? We'll start by fraction equals fraction out of 100. Then we fill in our numbers. It's 80%, so that's 80 per 100, of 60, that's the whole. And we don't know the part, so whatever that number is. 60 times 80 is 4,800. And W times 100 is 100W. That's just doing the cross products. Divide both sides by 100, and we get W equals 48. So, 48 is 80% of 60. Okay, next example. 10% of 40.5 is what number? Well, we start with our fraction equals fraction out of 100. Then let's fill in some information. It is 10%. 40.5 is, well, it's of 40.5 and is what number? We don't know the number, but it's out of 40.5. Cross multiplying here, 40.5 times 10 is 405. 100 times W is 100W. We can divide by 100, and we get W is 4.05. So, 10% of 40.5 is 4.05. Next example. 0.1% of what number is 4? Okay, start with your fraction equals fraction out of 100. Now let's fill in some information. It's 0.1%, so 0.1 per 100. Of what number? We don't know what the whole number is, but it is 4. We cross multiply here. 4 times 100 is 400. 0.1 times W is 0.1W. That again is doing the cross products. Divide by 0.1 to get W by itself, and we get 4,000. So 0.1% of 4,000 is 4. 1/2 is 25% of what number? Let's start with fraction equals fraction out of 100. 1/2 is 25% of what number? We don't know the number. We do our cross products. 25 times what number is 1/2 of 100, which is 50. We can divide both sides by 25, and we get that W is 2. So that means that 1/2 is 25% of 2. Okay, another quick example. The bar graph shows the strengths of tornadoes that occurred in Alabama in 2011. What percent of the tornadoes were EF1s? Now on this, where it's a situation problem, we are looking for the part. It does say what percent, so we don't know the percent. It says that we're EF1s, so EF1s is the part. And the part that are EF1s is this bar right here. There were 58 EF1s in 2011 in Alabama. We need to put it over the whole amount. Now the whole amount I've previously calculated right here. It would be every tornado type all added together. There were 145 total tornadoes here. We can go ahead and solve this by doing the cross products. 145p equals 5,800. We divide by 145, and we get p by itself. 5,800 divided by 145 is 40. So we throw the percent sign on it, and the answer is 40%. 40% of the hurricanes were EF1.